I want to bring in my special guest tonight, senior legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin, Judge Glenda Hatchett, host of the Judge Hatchett Show, and Judge Alex Ferrer. He's a former Florida judge and host of Judge Alex, defense attorney Jane Weintraub, and Mark Lamont Hill, the Columbia University professor and host of HuffPost Live. Welcome to you. What a stellar panel, I must say. Jeffrey Toobin, let me start with you. When you hear Ben Crump talk like that, it's very hard to see how this jury can basically say to George Zimmerman, I think, off you go.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think this jury is going to do exactly what they think is right. You know, one of the things you don't realize about a sequestered jury is that they really are sequestered. And I am sure one of the things they will say when this trial is over is, well, we had no idea the whole country was following this. So I think the initial sign we get is that they are going to be very meticulous, asking for a list of evidence, suggests they're going to look at the evidence with a considerable amount of care. They're going to let the chips fall where they may, and I don't think they are going to be focused on the public reaction. I think they're going to be focused, as they should be, on the evidence.
Mark Lamont Hill, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think they're going to be focused on the facts, obviously their own biases, their own interpretations, and their own emotions are going to weigh into that. But at the end of the day, they're going to make the best decision that they can based on the evidence they've seen over the last few weeks.
Aren't 6 women, 5 of them mothers? Some of the stuff today from the rebuttal very directly aimed at that fact, that they're all female, that many of them are mothers. This is a 17-year-old boy, you know, walking home to his family, who was unarmed and got shot dead. Just on, forget evidence for a moment, just on any human level. Isn't that going to be incredibly powerful with an all-female mother-related jury?
It's going to be powerful, it's going to be compelling, but ultimately it may not be persuasive. If they look at the evidence and decide that despite their emotion, they're not sure beyond a reasonable doubt that George Zimmerman was committing manslaughter or second-degree murder, they have to make a different decision. And their sympathies could go the other way as well. I mean, the defense has done an amazing job for the last 2 weeks of showing, you know, how would you feel at night if you saw Trayvon? They've constructed Trayvon as a kind of villain, as a purveyor of violence, and as such, those same emotions for those 6 jurors could play out the other way.
Judge Alex, I mean, no one knows Florida law better than you. We've established that in the last few weeks. What do you think?
Well, I take issue with one of the points that Mr. Crump made. I will tell you that right around the time that Trayvon's incident happened, shortly before that, there was the exact opposite case in Miami, Florida. It was a black male who shot 3 white males who happened to be his friend and killed them. The police did not arrest him because he claimed stand your ground. He said he was attacked and he defended himself. Over the period of time, the next few months, they investigated and they realized his defense didn't hold water. They turned around and they arrested him. And the reason the police have to follow that tact is because they can only arrest you if they have probable cause. And if they show up and there are no witnesses and you claim self-defense and they have nothing to defeat it, if they arrest you, they are facing potential civil liability. They can be sued because they arrested you without probable cause.
See, Judge Hatchett, this to me is a total farce. The idea that people in America, the great superpower of the world, could wander around gunning people down and not even face arrest because they were acting in self-defense or standing their ground, this ludicrous phrase. Isn't this a farce?
Well, I will tell you, one of the things I think come from this very tragic situation, and I think regardless of where people sort out on what will happen, I think that we all agree that there's a tragedy that the 17-year-old lost his life. And I mean, I don't think there's any dispute on that. But I will tell you, I think that one of the best things that will happen out of this is that there will be a discussion now about stand your ground. Because we haven't heard the last of this. I mean, we've got another case coming up in Florida later where a teenager was killed. And I think that we have to really get very serious about where we are, because this can go far further than any of us could ever anticipate in this country.
Attorney Weintraub, do you agree with that? I mean, I'm not as confident. I look at what's happened with gun control in America, where absolutely zero happened after Sandy Hook and Aurora. Why should I have any confidence living in America that anything will change here?
Personally, I think stand your ground is a terrible, terrible law. I think it's almost giving extra permission for those who carry guns.
It's a license to kill people, isn't it?
And I think it's an awful law. I also think, at the same time, that when we look at this case that the jury is out on, we have to focus on the evidence. And as hard as it is, Mark O'Mara, as I told you the other night, the judge is going to read a jury instruction that sympathy does not belong in the courtroom. Your verdict must be based on the evidence alone, because not to do so would be a travesty of justice.
Okay, let's take a short break. We'll come back and talk about this jury. I want to have a look at the Zimmerman jurors. Ask how an all-female jury can change the dynamic in that jury room. It must have an effect.